Hello, welcome back to All for United. It's been a long time. The World Cup's happened since then. We haven't made a signing just yet, but we probably will do. We might have done it by the end of this show, to be honest. But yeah, everything's happening. We're back. We've got the familiar faces that you all love and love to chat to as well. I had to get these three back on as the first one. You'll see some more, obviously, on Sunday, but I'll get to that in a second. Firstly, though, the commitment to coming on this show, right? Baines, I'm going to throw you right under the bus.
Oh, don't throw me under. Are you throwing me under the bus?
I'm going to have to. I'm sorry. An atrocious admission. Do you want to fill everyone into what I'm referring to?
Listen, okay, right. Look, I didn't want to be late to the show. And Connor was like, look, first show back, 8:30. Don't be late. All right, cool. I'm rushing home to get home. And I'm like, I really fancy a cuppa. My kettle takes ages to boil. And it's 8:28. And I'm like, shit, I'm going to be really late here. I've had to put the milk in first. I'm very sorry. It's admission. It will never happen again. I promise you. But I've had to put the milk in first in my tea and then put the water in. And now I've made my tea too milky and it's really white. I can't show you a picture because I'd rather not go through the embarrassment. But I'm very sorry, guys. I'm very sorry. But I'm not late. You can't get me for that. I'm not late.
No, you weren't. I was just late going live. I was sorting some other things out, but there we are. But yeah, as everyone, two people in the comments, Jake, thanks for joining us. And yes, we are back, and there'll be plenty of shows coming up. And as John said there, so yeah, just very briefly from me, yes, All for United, the men's channel obviously is back. The WSC channel will continue as normal. Nothing really will change in the short term. It's just you'll see everybody back talking about United's men's side. So I'll get to that at the end because we have got some shows coming up next week. Let's start then with the Here We Go man. Not official by United just yet, but it is official by Fabrizio Romano, who has got a couple of things wrong, but I'll let him off on this one. But I'll come to each of you. Andrew, start with you. Weghorst, how are you feeling about this one? Is it a good signing? Is it a good bit of business? How do you feel about this one?
So I believe in Ten Hag and him bringing Weghorst. So you could say the signing maybe a bit out of the blue, but then looking at the other options, we're being banded around like João Felix and Gakpo as well, which is like it was pretty much said in the minutes of the fans forum, which I read the other day. We needed a centre forward, and Weghorst fits that bill as well. There was talk of Gakpo coming in, but he's a versatile forward. He's a bit similar to like Rashford. He'll like to drift out onto the left wing as well, whereas we need an out-and-out centre forward, somebody who's a goal poacher, which I know Martial's leading the line at the minute, and yes, he's improving, but need him to score more as well. But Weghorst, he's going to be the one to, do that for us as well. So I think out of his 125 goals, 124 of them have been scored within the penalty area. So I'm just thinking of Ruud van Nistelrooy. Most of his goals are like that.
That's a stat. Bloody hell. That's a good stat.
Van Nistelrooy, he'd rarely score a goal outside the box. He was always in the box, just waiting to receive the ball. So with Weghorst coming in, he gives us a plan B, a target man. And from what I'm reading about, he likes to hold up the ball. His control is pretty good, but he'll also come deep as well, to get involved in the play as well. But I think for the rest of the season, it's a good deal. And say, I think it's about $2.5 million we're spending on a loan fee. So even if it does work out, he might stay on. But like I say, the key in the summer is to go out and get a world-class centre forward, whoever that may be.
Just before we move, Stu and Baines, you have your sound. I've got to bring this up. Come on, John. It's first show back, and you're just getting. I know I ripped Spainsy right from the first minute or so, but Botox, really? I'm only. I know I feel like I'm in my 50s, but come on.
It's a bit of a stretch. Bit of plastic surgery, I think. That really
But there we are. But go on, Stu, for yourself, what do you think about this sign in particular?
Look, was I underwhelmed? Yes. But then I thought about some of the things that I think about our fan base, and I was pretty guilty of being underwhelmed by it. If you kind of understand, his game and the way that he plays, Andrew's absolutely right. He scores 90% of his goals in the area, and you know what I think about an old-fashioned number 9. He lives and breathes in the area, and that's what he does. I think what people are judging him on is his Burnley performance. where I think he played 20 games and netted twice. But if you look at his career after Burnley and before Burnley, he was a 50% finisher. He was 1 in 2 basically, and that's pretty good. Whether you're 6'6" or 5'6", it doesn't really matter. It's a good return. My guess is that Ten Hag will know exactly how to utilise his strengths. He'll understand exactly what it is. I think he'd be better at hold-up play than Martial, although I must admit Martial's hold-up play has improved outside the box. But he's a box striker, and that's what we need. I like somebody who's willing to throw his head in. Although he's not great in the air, by the way, he mainly scores with his feet. But I want somebody to go up there, and I want somebody to really bully centre halves. I tweeted earlier that it's interesting that people are going and looking at an old-fashioned number 9, and I kind of use the phrase, it's kind of strange to call something old-fashioned, because football in its whole entirety has been 11v11. It's just an interpretation of how you utilise those 11 players on the pitch. And people talk about ticky-tacky football. They talk about Pep Guardiola bringing all this in. It was done in the 30s, done in the 40s. If you know your football history, you'll know there's a finite kind of amount of ways of playing in the same circumference and the same amount of players. You can't just go ahead and make something out of the sky, pull something out of the sky. I remember when Terry Venables says, we'll do the Christmas tree formation. Just an interpretation of a 4-4-2. It is. So for me, what I'm looking at is Weghorst using his strength. I believe he's quite quick. I'm not saying he's rapid, but I believe he's got a ton of pace on him. And he clearly knows where the goal is. And, we are forgetting he's a Dutch international. He scored twice at the World Cup. Look, we've got to embrace it. Ten Hag knows what he's doing. He's proven he knows what he's doing. So I just think we've got to trust.
No, that's a fair point. And Bainesy, I'll come to you in a second, but I tell you, that picture's throwing me off a little bit, I've got to be honest. But rumours about jeans, I tell you what, I'd love for Kiss to own United. That's never going to happen. But
that'd be amazing. That would.
If we had like a rock band like Kiss or somebody owning us, well, even they can't afford it. I don't even think they're that rich. But yeah, that would be quite something. But yeah, that picture's throwing me.
It's the picture, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's a weird picture. Yeah,
it's completely thrown me that. But Bainesy, Stu just mentioned something there. His Dutch international and things like that. So we know Ten Hag's history. He turned a lot of players at Ajax into good players that you not really associate with being good players in the past. So is it a case of Ten Hag must want him, that we've got to trust his judgment and that he is going to be a good signing for the short term, especially?
Sebastian Haller didn't quite do it at West Ham, and was an absolute animal at Ajax under Ten Hag. So that's just one example of him bringing in a player that didn't quite make it in the Premier League, but then obviously took him under his wing. And he was a beast. Now, look, it could be subject to the Dutch division. Fair enough, even if it is. But this whole myth about farmers leagues and all of that, I don't. When you're a pro footballer and you get profiled to the Premier League, there are a number of people who think that you can play in the Premier League. So, it's a bit of a weird one. This one, it's obviously a stopgap, isn't it? It's a loan deal. It's a stopgap to get that ultimate number 9 in the summer, which I'm sure we'll touch on either on this show or future shows. But yeah, look, it's not ones that sort of get you at your seat thinking, yes, we're going to kick on. And it's one of those ones where you think, yeah, all right, I see you thinking. He wants a target man. And like Stu said, he's a traditional number 9, fox in the box kind of player who just he's a target man. You just hit him and see what happens kind of thing. It's like almost like a hit and hope Sunday League kind of style, but it still works in the Premier League. I mean, Burnley had it. How many goals did he score for Burnley? Was it only 2 or 3 goals?
He only got 2. He made about 20 appearances, I think. Only scored twice. But you've got to bear in mind the types of players that are delivering for him at Burnley, where you've got Rashford, you've got Garnacho. Well, Garnacho doesn't quite deliver yet, but he's getting there. Bless him.
He'll get there.
He's getting there. You've got Anthony. If Anthony can get his cross in, you got it's going to be Wan-Bissaka, isn't it? Sunday. If they sign him before midday tomorrow,
I think he's eligible, isn't he?
Yeah, he's eligible if they sign him before 12. So he's going to be on the bench, at the best, isn't he? But
It'll be brilliant, right?
Yeah, I think so. Look, if the game's 1 apiece or it's 0-0 and there's 20, 25 minutes to go, bring him on and get him to smash the shit out of their back line.
I was going to say, I was just going to throw a name out. I'll just quickly come back in on that one. But while you were saying that, Ighalo came to mind. Do you remember when he came in against City? Same game at Old Trafford. It was the last game before COVID, wasn't it? Or last home game before COVID. It's that kind of thing, isn't it? Especially against this. I was going to bring it in, but you kind of brought it up already about involvement on Saturday. Do you reckon? Do you reckon we will see him involved? Obviously, it all depends if he's signed before midday tomorrow. But if he is, would you involve him? Or?
I'm guessing that
he's match fit, so why not?
Yeah, I'm guessing the speed in which that it's accelerated over the last couple of days, Ten Hag would like him against City. Obviously not to start, but other than that, there'd be no rush with it to get him over. So I'm not really sure. It'll be interesting to see. I can't imagine Guardiola. I can't imagine Guardiola's happy about the current situation as we kind of speak tonight. But I'd like to see him because look, hey, if it comes off his knee, it comes off his elbow, it comes off his arse, he's going to be an instant hit, isn't he, with the fans? So,
Well, this is the thing, right? So Vincent Kompany, being the manager of Burnley, has just okayed the deal to play to possibly play against City. Could you imagine if he comes on and scores the winner?
Ace.
So it's. I'm not saying it's written in the stars, but I mean, stuff like that. When you say it like that, I mean, it's not exactly.
Vicky's
way out of the stars, is it? So
Vicky's made
a
few good points about his mentality, Connor. She's done a bit of research into by the looks of it, and that's quite interesting because I have heard that off the field he's quite quiet, quite personable. As a man, as a human being, and that, but. As long as he's an absolute animal when he crosses that white line for us, brilliant. But it's good to see.
It's a good point.
And Ten Hag's very similar, isn't he, in his personality? Very quiet, he's softly spoken. He's got quite a nice demeanour about him. But I would imagine when he's in that dressing room environment, and you're not pulling toe in the party line, he's at you. So it's interesting what Vic says there. To be fair.
From what I've heard, I know the players do fear Ten Hag. They are literally, they don't want to get on the wrong side of him. Like with Weghorst as well. Like I say, from what I'm reading, quite off the pitch, but on the game, he's like he has that desire to improve as well. I mean, I think during his early weeks at Burnley, he was known to send messages to his teammates, on how they could improve, how they played as well. So I think that's what Ten Hag, with Weghorst, his attributes, but his character as well. That's what, with the signings he made in the summer, I want to bring those characters into the dressing rooms. Like, we need that strong mentality as well.
No, it's a fair point. There's a few good comments that came in. Adrian there saying, I'll get my words. I can't even speak. It'll be great to play off for Bruno and Rashford. Christ, who great as a host here. I couldn't even get your words out there. Talking about Bruno and Rashford, the link up there, he'll get a chance, which he didn't at Burnley. I think that's the point, Stu, you were making. He'll get more chance at United. Well, you'd hope so anyway, with the likes of Rashford putting crosses in, Anthony as well. And also when Dalot, if he does come back, I know obviously not for this weekend, but for future games, Dalot's got a good cross on him. Luke Shaw's deliveries coming on leaps and bounds as well. And a few people, Lanzell also mentioned it a while about his being a great presser of the ball as well.
He does. Well. Yeah, he gets across the back line quite nicely from what I can see. And he's going to want to do it, isn't he? The thing about bringing him on with 25 minutes to go, he's going to want to make that impression. Now, because he's got experience at 30 years old, he's not just going to run around like a headless chicken, so to speak. And he's going to pick and choose where he positions himself so he can stop potential balls out the back, or he can challenge, or he can harass, hassle. He's got that kind of brain and that mentality around him. So, look, who knows what will bring, but I'm looking forward to seeing it.
Yeah, this is a very interesting group. We will get to the City preview in a second. I just thought we may as well talk about this signing while we're here. But if this is an interesting question, will be a plan B for just like Fellaini in the Louvre? I don't think he will. I think he's coming to start.
I don't buy that as well.
I
don't. Ten Hag's not like that, is he? After everything that you've seen, okay, look at the squad before Ten Hag. Look at the additions Ten Hag has made. Out of everything you've seen, would you suggest that Weghorst is a plan B?
I think he's coming to start personally, but I don't know about Bainesy Andrew, whether you disagree with that one. I'm sure what you're saying is great, but you're muted right now.
Sorry,
I'll tell you,
I'm having a nightmare. I'm so sorry. I basically what I was saying was I think he brings a different dynamic. With Martial, he comes in deep into the play. He pings it off. He looks after the ball. At times, he can be a target man if we're defending from a corner, for example. Whereas Weghorst is obviously the prolific target man, where you can knock it up to him. He'll hold it. He'll play it off. Or he'll run in behind, whatever. But I think it brings, if we're chasing a game or if we're needing a winner, he brings a different dynamic to the game. We can completely switch it up however we want to with Weghorst. So I'm not even sure if I'm pronouncing it now. I might have butchered that name, but yeah, it brings a different dynamic. I think he'll start though. I think he'll start a few games definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say I don't. Well, if we register him time, I don't see him starting against City, but he'll probably come on if we're needing to chase a goal.
Yeah.
But I just think he's definitely not plan B. I think he's a plan A. I think the need for goals is immediate. I'm just thinking when we think like Gakpo, that would have been like a project, and we can't rely on a project at the moment. We need something immediate for the short term, and that's what Ten Hag's looking at. So I just think not only his goal scoring ability, it's just like his ability to press as well. I know Martial is getting better at that, but I think I was reading one stat on Weghorst. He's very keen on pressing, and Ten Hag likes to press from the front. I think in the game against Wolves last year, Weghorst, I think he had 57 pressures against the opposition, which is the highest in a league game that season. So I think that's what Ten Hag wants. Attack from the front and pressurise the opposition straight away.
No, that's a fair point. I think what's John just put here? I think I don't disagree with that either. And obviously, Lanzar's with you as well on that one. Vicky, I can see your question. I'm actually going to come back to that question after this because one quick fire question for me. These guys don't even know I'm asking this because I like doing this. If anyone's watched me on the WFC channel, I like to just throw questions in.
I can barely get my words out, Connor.
Just to a little quick fire thing as well. And Vicky, you'll be great at this because that kind of question is exactly the kind of thing I'm looking for. But considering it's our first show back, we will have transfer shows and things like that where we talk about things in more detail. But at the moment, obviously, we're looking at this is going to be our first signing. From now until the end of the window, you can only sign one more player. Who is that? You can say a position or you can say
I'll come to
player
it
name.
last. I can't.
You can make it realistic or completely unrealistic. It's up to you. I'll let anyone go first on that one if they've got a position or name that they want to throw out there. But you can only get one for the rest of the window.
I'd have signed Vlahovic if I could. I'd have had him from Fiorentina 6 months ago, 12 months ago, whenever he moved to Juventus. But Vlahovic should be perfect for Ten Hag's system. Good movement, really good striker, good finisher, good ball player. I'd have Vlahovic any day of the week.
So I'm going to position-wise, I would have said a forward, but we're getting Weghorst now, so it's just see the other positions. We've Ten Hag sort of, to me, has filled those roles, and like those players and the players he brought in, and also the players that are there I'm seeing improvements in them. So it's like
I got another one then, John. Andrew. I got another one then. I'd have Walker Peters as well as a backup right back. It'd be absolutely brilliant. Brilliant.
I was just thinking about right back, left back. We don't have a backup left back.
Malacia.
Yeah, Malacia, isn't it?
Sorry. Oh my god.
It's first show back. It's fine.
What is going on?
For really good. If we were to lose a fullback, a right back, Walker Peters would be a tremendous backup. Absolutely tremendous backup.
Would you say he gets ahead of Dalot? Because I know he said the other day he's close to agreeing a new deal with United. So I don't know whether Walker Peters comes in and does he ever take him or not?
Well, the thing about Dalot for me is, and you can question him positionally, defensively. You really can, but the way that Ten Hag wants to play, he's utilised and he's grown over the past 6 months, just purely by giving this license that he really wants to. And Anthony's got this ability to kind of cover him like he did with Timber for Ajax, so that does work in his favour. but positionally he's not great. So I would consider if Wan-Bissaka was to move on, then you've got to get a dynamic fullback, but a fullback that can defend. That's what
that's a fair point as well. I think so we'll be doing a lot more shows on this now. Transfer season is well underway. Hammer, thanks for joining us. It's great to see you as well. You'll be seeing more of him, I'm sure, on the channel as we move forward as well.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to quickly come to Vicky's question before we move on to the main bulk of this, which obviously we're talking about the City game on Saturday. This is a really interesting question, because I don't know how to phrase it myself. Question for you on so far on Signs for United: has Erik ten Hag disappointed you at the same time? Give me words that I can.
You're right there.
Okay. You can see it on screen. Right. You can see the question on screen anyway. Just answer the question.
Disappointed. I'll go. So disappointed. No, to be honest, I think he's profiled all of his signings pretty well. Malacia for me is a type of. I'm still 50-50 on him. He came in and he was great for us. Showed tenacity. He was fiery. I mean, he still is, but sometimes he gets things wrong. I don't know his age. I know he's young, but do you know what I mean? And then obviously Luke Shaw's come in and shown another level above that, and he has played pretty well, and he had a good World Cup as well, Luke Shaw. So Malacia, as me, is the one who I'm a little bit 50-50 on. Everyone else, Anthony, I'm happy about. He's still obviously very raw, but that'll come. He still scored 5 or 6 goals for us, so that's okay. That hopefully he'll double that. Casemiro, obviously, need I say any more about that guy? He's brilliant for us. Martinez, brilliant. So yeah, I can't really complain about the signings that he's had. The only really dodgy one is Malacia for me.
I was going to say, I'm not disappointed by the signings he's made. As like Bain said, Malacia, I think he's a work in progress. He's not the finished article yet. Ten Hag's still developing him as a player. So reservation, everybody could say Weghorst coming in, well, why are we getting him? Why? But when you read into it more, it makes more sense considering all the other options we had lined up for us, like Gakpo and Joe Felix. Yeah, they're not out and out strikers where Weghorst is, and I'm just like, no. But I think I trust what Ten Hag's doing and the signings he's making. A bit like when Sir Alex was in charge, you just trust his instinct, and these players were going to be good enough to wear that United shirt.
There's what I like about Ten Hag. There's an astute way of doing things in life in general, and Ten Hag, applies this to football. And I've often spoken, and you guys all know this. I've often spoken about sometimes the need to have good players that fit the right position, and they don't have to cost 200 million, 90 million, 70 million to do that. And it just so happens that Ten Hag's looked and he's been able to get the types of player that he wants, and he's tried to get the right personality as well. There are certain players that have been absolutely superb outside of Old Trafford. They've come into Old Trafford the wrong time in their careers because they haven't had the type of profile of player that can help them and coach them through a game. Andrew, we speak about this, and you had Bainesy on many occasions. And one of the best examples is young Max Kilman at Wolves. Connor Cody was a brilliant organizer, but a great on-field coach as well. We've now got that when you've got somebody like Eriksen and you've got somebody like Casemiro. Yeah. Casemiro is so methodical by the way that he plays, the way that he just inches his way forward, but he's always in the position to react. We haven't had that before. We haven't had that with Fred, and we haven't had that with McTominay. Casemiro offers that, which allows Bruno to kind of float around more because you've got Eriksen as almost double cover with Casemiro. But when the likes of Garnacho comes onto the pitch and he's looking around him and he's looking at the likes of Varane, he's looking at Liche, he's looking at Casemiro, and he's looking at Eriksen. Maybe not so much Bruno as it happens, although people love Bruno as a leader. I don't see him as a true leader on the pitch, a true warrior on the pitch, a true leader. He has been in the past, but at this point in time, his game is changing. And I think with that kind of magic trio that we have, and with Rashford now all of a sudden growing up, I guess, one for the better phrase, and a very raw Anthony, when you look at the way that he's pieced this team together, I think it shows a clear vision. I think he's way further down the line than he would think he would have been. I think so much so that he's able to now plan for the summer. Well, with only English team, don't forget, still in 4 competitions, theoretically, because we're still in, we're still in with a shout of the title, aren't we? But we're still in 4 competitions. And I just think he's just gone about it slowly but surely, very, very quiet. And people can moan and they can whinge, like Graham Souness or Roy Keane or whoever, they can moan and they can whinge. But step by step, gradually, they're coming together, they're understanding each other, they're communicating better. Everything they're doing on the pitch is a more cohesive way of playing football. So in answer to Vicky's question, I'm sorry it's a little bit long-winded, but I think everything he's done so far has put us on the right track to where we'll be in 2 years' time.
Yeah.
Not next season, but the season after, 2 years' time.
No, that's a fair point, and yeah, I don't disagree with that comment right now. He had a little bit of a difficult start as well, but he has certainly come into his own. Andrew, it's great to see you in the comments as well. Thanks for coming back, and same for Jarvis, who I brought up your comment a little bit earlier as well. Thanks. Get all your comments in. Like I said, I'm going to try and get through as many as I can. Like I said, I will get onto the City preview in a second, so if that is why you're here, I will get onto that in just a second. Just one final question from Vicky. Any of you can answer this one before we do move on to City. Do you think it kind of ties into City, actually, because it's a nice little segue in, but do you think the fear factor is back at Old Trafford? I'm going to throw another question off the back of that. How big of an advantage, but having us being more solid at home again, because there was a period, under the last few managers where our home form has been atrocious. The fact that we've seemed to have that home form back, obviously we beat Liverpool and Spurs earlier in the season, good Arsenal, good wins at home. How big of a factor do you think that is now?
I'll take this quickly if you don't mind, lads. It's there, it's getting there, but we're still away from actually having that Sir Alex Ferguson-esque kind of era, that fear factor.
Yeah.
Teams are thinking twice now before they turn up at Old Trafford. They're having to look a little bit, delve deeper into the way that Ten Hag's playing, the way the team are playing, and the way that the team are responding to the fans again. But we're a little bit away from it yet. But it's coming there. It's like a cloud in the distance, a rain cloud in the distance, which it's coming, and the Premier League know it's coming. We're just waiting for it to drop on top of Old Trafford and let the deluge come. Because when that happens, I think it'll be mid. I'm going to predict mid next season, midway part of next season. I think Ten Hag will be another 12 months into the job. We depending on what we do in the summer, we've got financial fair play issues, don't we, by all accounts, with this new way that UEFA are looking at stuff, depending on what he does in the summer. But if you remember, fellas, and so you went on the show, Connor, but I think Bainesy and Andrew was in the summer. And I was asked, what's progress for Manchester United this season? And I said, I would like a winning run of 10 games, because that will take us somewhere. And we're on the way to doing that now. Yeah. And that will take us somewhere to where we want to be midway through next season and the following season. So we're getting there, but we're not quite there yet.
So we're 4 away from that 10.
To be honest, I agree with you, Stu. I don't think we're... Thing is, I think we're further along that process than maybe some people think. We're not there. No, I mean, City tomorrow will come to Old Trafford and they'll try and play their brand of football like they do anywhere. And I
they
think
can try tomorrow, but they ain't going to be playing against anybody.
Oh, sorry. Oh my God. Saturday. Oh my, what is going on?
You're going as well, man. What, you're going to get up tomorrow and go up to
Manchester? Honestly, this is so bad. I'm having a nightmare. It's obviously this tea that I made before this show. Yeah, look, I think it's getting there. It's definitely getting there. Are we back to that Sir Alex Ferguson days where teams cannot go to Old Trafford and start playing their brand of football? No, I don't think so. I think Stu's right in the sense that we'll probably take another sort of season to get there. Midway through next season, perhaps we'll be there. But I certainly think that in order for us to really reach the very top, the very pinnacle of football club football, we need to make sure we win every single home game. And to go places anywhere, to win the league, to win European Cup competitions, FA Cup, the League Cup, do not lose. Win every single game at home. Do not lose away. That's always been the fundamental of any cup competition. And I think we are getting to that stage. I can't remember the last home defeat we had. Was it Brighton?
Oh, I think it was. Yeah, it would have been Brighton, I think.
Well, if you count in all comps, it was Sociedad, wasn't it?
Sociedad. Yeah. So, I mean, look, and ever since then, I don't think we've actually lost at home. So, yeah, it's certainly on the way up. I don't think we're quite there, but definitely a process. And, yeah, good question by Vicky as well about the Fortress. We need to get that back.
As I say, Andrew, do you want to round this off? Because you're there pretty much, for every single home game, pretty much. Do you agree with that, what Vicky's saying there? The old are definitely vibing 100% more, especially under the lights. Are you seeing a change now, do you think?
I say it's slowly coming back, the fear fact. You can see the mentality on the pitch as well. I'm just thinking like the Everton game in the FA Cup when they equalised, it was like, which was a bit of that goal we conceded was a bit of a stupid goal to concede, but then it was just like, okay, it's 1-1. Okay, we'll just go again and we'll get back in front. So it's like, whereas before, in previous seasons, we'd have crumbled and ended up losing the game. So, and say, Ten Hag, it's a work in progress, getting the team in his image and his vision as well. And I just think it's going to be bumps in the road, which we've had over the course of this season so far. And I just think there may be one or two more where we just get knocked back a few steps, but then we'll just, go forward again. So it's slowly getting there. So I just think, as I say, that home, if we wanted to, challenge for the title, which I don't suspect it will be this season, but if it's not from next season onwards, then that home form is going to be key. So, we've got to, be winning every game at home and to be within the chance of challenging for it.
No, 100%. Has it been announced? Have we just missed something? I don't know whether that's officially out from the club yet, but he if you're on about he can play full, if you're on about he can play full stop, yeah, he can. He's a good player. So, but if you're on about in regards to Saturday, he needs to be fully registered by tomorrow at midday. So, yeah, somebody let me know. I don't think it's officially out by the club yet, though.
No, I don't think it's
been announced.
But yeah, we'll keep an eye on that anyway. Right, we'll move on to Manchester City next. Obviously, that's the game. I'm saying it like it's just an ordinary game here. The Manchester derby on Saturday. Obviously, the last time we met, it wasn't great. The thing is, when you say 6-3, it sounds bad, but it doesn't sound as bad. But it was horrendous. I mean, discount the last two, Martial goals towards the end. It would have been obviously another 6-1 in there. But it was a first half kind of demolition. City obviously took their foot off the gas. The question that I'll start with for each of you, and Andrew, I'll come to you first on this. What do we need to change? Do you think Ten Hag has learned from the last game against City? Obviously, we've grown as a team since then. We're in a different place when we played them last time. But looking at that, the way we approach that game, what was the kind of things you'd be looking at to change in this time around?
Ten Hag will have definitely learned a lot from that game. I mean, that game, we was going into it, with a bit of optimism. I think we won 4 games on the bounce going into that game. But then I remember at the start of that game, I think Delo went flying in and then got booked straight away. And then I think we were just trying to play an attacking game within the first couple of minutes. And then it all just disintegrated, and then we're just so out of our depth, and then City just decided to run rampant, and even though it ended up 6-3, it just was saying the scoreline flattered us. It just was very abject from us, and I think one of the key areas, and which will be the key area on Saturday, is the midfield, controlling that midfield. And the one player we didn't have that day was Casemiro. I mean, he'd only just arrived and he was settling in, so maybe Ten Hag, looking back at the game, maybe a decision he might have regretted not playing Casemiro, but as I say, he was just getting up and running. And I remember the first few games of Casemiro, he was settling in. I remember a few of his passes were going astray, just trying to get up to speed with everything. But now I just think that's going to be the key area. But I just think one of the keys as well is, how do you stop Erling Haaland as well? It's just, I know Martinez was given the job like last time and sort of to fend him off, but I'm just hoping, Martinez will just be on it and just keep him at bay alongside Varane as well. So I just think, I know Ten Hag will have some sort of plan together to stop City at every cost. And
Stu, for yourself, is it just a personnel change, do you think? Because, I mean, Andrew just mentioned Dallo. He got booked in the second. I'm just looking now, the second minute. The goal came 6 minutes later, and then it was the two Haaland, obviously, goals that kind of sealed it, and obviously Foden for half time. Is it just personnel that you think Ten Hag will look to change in this game, or do you think it is? I don't know what else to kind of say. Tactically, do you think he'll try and change anything from the last one? Because I say it can't have gone much worse, so he must have learned something from that game. But what would you be looking at to change ahead of this one?
Yeah, controversially, well, look, we're not going to have the Dallo issue, so to speak, because he's injured, unless he miraculously comes back. Although this is a type of game where you don't risk an injured player, somebody who's got a niggle. So I think Wan-Bissaka will come in. What I would do, controversially, is bench Eriksen and bring in Fred to play alongside Casemiro. And I would do that because I just think we're going to need that extra steel in the middle of the park. The problem with that is that Fred, bless him, Fred gives us that danger zone. He puts you in that danger zone. And he'll have to make sure that we don't get pulled. If we do get pulled from side to side, then I think we're in for a torrid time. But that's what I think. I think Fred will come in, and I think Eriksen will be the one to be sacrificed. Question I've got in my mind, though, again, controversially, I'm probably going to get shot here, but would you maybe consider benching Bruno and having Eriksen in and playing Eriksen almost in a 10, who can then also come back and play in a 3 with Casemiro and Fred? The reason I say that is that Eriksen at the moment, one of the things that Ten Hag has done, he's brought in specialists for set pieces, i.e. Eriksen, specialist centre midfielder, specialist centre halves. He's brought in specialists throughout the pitch where he's been able to buy. And I know people will say, well, you can't leave Bruno out. Give me an argument to say why you can't, because I don't think there is an argument to say that you can't at the moment. So for me, I think it will be Bruno, but I might consider. I'd definitely consider Fred. I might consider Eriksen ahead of Bruno. It won't go down well with the fan base because obviously, but that would be my thought process. Rashford, Anthony, and it's going to have to be Martial. Is he injured? Is he fit?
I don't know, to be honest. I really don't know what's going on there.
I think Martial's fit. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's how I would look at it. I just think that Fred just adds us a little bit more steel in the back. 2 centre halves, you've got to go with Martinez and Varane. You've got to play Wan-Bissaka. You've got to play Luke Shaw and De Gea. So that would be my 11. If it was me picking it, by the way, I would have Eriksen over Bruno. So I'd have Casemiro, Fred and Eriksen if it was me picking the team.
It's an interesting point you make, and Baines, I'll throw it to you, but also throw in Vicky and John's comments. So Vicky, not that one, it was that one I was trying to bring up. Vicky's talking about the calming kind of directive of Eriksen. We know that Bruno can be a little bit rash sometimes with the ball and kind of giving the ball away more than I think you'd like to see from that you would see from Eriksen. And John's also saying, could you play Casemiro and Fred Eriksen a bit further up? I mean, maybe Bruno in a false nine on the wing. What would you kind of look to do? Like, because we're looking at the team last time, you had Rashford, Sancho, Antony, Bruno, Eriksen, and McTominay as your kind of your midfield and forward players. Surely he's not going to go with something similar this time around, do you think?
No. No, he won't. I don't think he'll go with the same team. Let's not forget, guys, that McTominay started over Casemiro because McTominay had that run of form for about 4 or 5 games where he was just brilliant for us. And obviously then came the City game, we got humbled, and then Casemiro came in and made a difference for us. So even just adding Casemiro from that last time we played them gives us such a competitive edge in midfield. It puts us on a completely different level. I know it's only one player, but the role that Casemiro plays is so crucial to any team. He brings that calmness. You know, he can intercept, he can tackle. Obviously, he can spray a ball back if he wanted to. I completely agree with Stu. You need someone like Fred next to Casemiro. They do it at Brazil, and all the Brazilian players love Fred when Fred and Casemiro play together. I think their winning rate is something ridiculous for Brazil. So, yeah, I would put Fred next to Casemiro. I don't know about the Eriksen thing. I think we've seen Eriksen play the 10 role and then drop deeper, and then he doesn't quite get involved in the game. And I do feel like maybe we can trust. I know he gives the ball away a lot and he tries to make something out of nothing at times, and people can get frustrated with it. But there will be that one time where Bruno will look up, he'll play a ball, and we're in. I'm not sure whether Eriksen does that, as he's a bit of he's a bit too safe with the ball, and now that's absolutely nothing wrong with being safe on the ball. It's just sometimes against a team like City where you need to beat a press, you might need someone like Bruno who can beat a press by going over the top or beating a line of defence.
You do. Sorry, Baines.
No, go on, jump in.
I absolutely, totally agree with you. My issue with Bruno just at the minute is his ability to lose the ball and then sit up on you like an absolute rat. You know.
It's a coin toss, isn't it?
That's what I'm saying. That's the only reason I mentioned that.
No, I agree that Casemiro and Fred, I think, should. Casemiro definitely. I mean, it'll be criminal not to start him. But Fred, who's someone who's tenacious, he's busy, he's got legs in him. He's obviously still fresh. He's not really played that much football over the weeks, so it'd be good to get him in. João Felix could be red carded here. Sorry.
I think what we've got to do mainly is where Casemiro. Sorry, Andrew, apologies, mate. But what I was going to say is when Casemiro, with the way that he plays, the way that his ability to read the game, I think he'll suffocate between him, Varane and Liche. I think they'll suffocate Haaland a lot more than what they did last time because McTominay left that huge hole.
João Felix sent off. Sorry, guys.
Oh, what a shame.
Seriously?
Yeah, João Felix sent off. It was a nasty challenge. It's a really bad challenge.
I still think he's in Madrid, doesn't he?
He does. And that's what I'm looking for this time. I'm really looking for the gap between the two centre halves and De Gea and Casemiro to absolutely suffocate Haaland's movement in between the two lines. If they can do that, and we can somehow, and this is where I think Fred can come in quite nicely, we can somehow contain De Bruyne. I'm not too bothered about Foden, really, but those two in particular. I think if we can contain those by doing that, by the role of Casemiro, the role of the two centre halves, and De Gea, I think it'll be a tough afternoon for Haaland, personally.
He's going to bag another hat trick, isn't he?
Probably.
Please don't.
Probably is.
Oh, God. And he hasn't scored for 2 games, so you know what he's like, and you know what City are like when they lose a game.
Yeah.
It's so annoying. I just wish they'd piss off.
This has completely thrown me. This has.
Yeah. It's a bad challenge as well. It's a really bad challenge. It's reckless.
Tell Boney, legend.
I was going to say it's
brilliant.
I mean, Yeah, I mean, my mates just messaged me as a Chelsea fan, but what a debut. Yeah, and then just a load of swear words, which I won't repeat on it. But see, should have got wet. Well, no, they shouldn't have got Weghorst because he's ours now. I hope that deal gets done now. Now I've said that on here. But no, that's good points, man. I think there was a point that somebody made a little bit further up. I think it was me yourself, Vicky, again. I think I've lost the comment now, though. Can I disagree? Absolutely. Tell us we're wrong and tell us everything else. That's what we love a bit of debate and everything on here. So by all means, disagree with us if you want. But saying there about the fullback situation, if Dalla is injured, I'd choose Malacia on the right. To be fair, I probably do as well. I've got to be honest. As good as Wan-Bissaka is defense, and against City, he's usually had the good running. But I think he only had the good running really when he was up against a Sterling or a Sane. I think Wan-Bissaka against a different type. Who are they playing out there at the minute? Is it Grealish or Foden and whoever else?
I think it'll be Foden won it on Saturday. I think he'll put Foden in rather than Grealish.
So it's fullback's going to be the interesting one, isn't it? Because I think that's where we got beat heavy in that first half of the way away at the Etihad earlier in the season. It was that right hand side that really kind of did us in particular. One, Maisie, you just mentioned him there, Haaland. Andrew, I'll come to you first. How do we stop him then? Because not many teams have managed it this season. He scored 3 against us last time. He's already on 21 Premier League goals. How do we stop him this time? Because it's going to be the same centre-back partnership. It's still going to be, we'd hope anyway, it's going to be Varane and Martinez back there. It's probably going to be Casemiro in front this time, as Stu said. But what do we do to stop this guy?
Clamping.
It's a good question. How do you stop Haaland? He's just literally scoring for fun. I know he hasn't scored in 2 games, and he's going to be well up for the game on Saturday. So we're just going to. I think the key players in stopping him will be Casemiro, Varane, and Martinez. Yeah. That 3. Just someone just around Haaland. Like we're not going to let him move anywhere. So you got to factor in if we're all focusing on we can't take our eyes off the likes of Foden or De Bruyne, their creativity as well. So, they can easily open us up as well. So, we can't just focus on just Haaland, but, he is the biggest threat the City have got. But at the moment, City, they lost yesterday against Southampton, so they'll be hurt by that, and usually when they've had a defeat, they usually bounce back in the perfect way.
They got on like a 40-game winning streak, didn't they? City.
I think it was from what I was reading. I think they've been on a 15-game winning run. After the loss yesterday. So, I think Guardiola's mentioned it. I think their high standards they've set before in the last few months, they've sort of been dipping down. I think it's the likes of Cancelo and Foden. They've just not been as they were, and it's like, well, hopefully their form is the bad form at the moment carries on to the derby as well, because we don't want them getting their momentum back as well. So, but I say take Haaland out at all costs. I just just do any. I just want Martinez. I want Martinez when I see him, he reminds me like a bulldog. He'll just be like on you, and I just want him on Haaland, just don't let him have a sniff of anything. Just be in his face.
Just quickly on that, Jarvis has hit the nail on the head. Is you can't really stop him, but you can stop the service. Yes. So that's where the likes of Casemiro, Fred, if he plays, obviously, get on De Bruyne. Because how many times has De Bruyne got the ball out wide or through centrally and played him through, and he hits it first time and it's a goal. You stop the service, and that's what Southampton did really well. Who's City's previous game?
Everton did it well. Everton did it well against them as well.
Everton did it well. I know De Bruyne didn't play against Southampton, but when he did come on with Haaland, they stopped De Bruyne and they stopped that service going in, and he barely had a sniff. And the same with Everton, really. So. Yeah, you stop the service. I mean, Martinez has done it when Haaland was at Dortmund, like we said, but I think we've got a different animal in our hands here. And all due respect to Varane and Martinez, you can't. He's a bit like Thanos. He's just fucking inevitable. He's gonna get a chance, and 9 times out of 10 he'll slot it. So it's all about stopping the service for me with Haaland.
No, I agree. I think he is like Thanos, really. I take your analogy, and I think it's right. The interesting thing about him is the conundrum you've got as a centre half is do you stick or twist with him? Do you mark him closely and tightly? If you do, he's going to use his strength. He's going to roll you. Do you give him those extra 2 yards? I'm in favour of giving him yardage because, as Jarvis quite rightly points out, he's not really a dribbler. But if you do give him yardage and you go for that tackle, you've got to make sure you hit it, and you've got to hit it hard. Because if he does get the ball past you, you're not going to catch him. So the conundrum is it space or is it tight? For me, you've got to give him that space, but do not allow him in behind. Because if you allow him in behind, you're going to have issues with him for sure. You really are. This is where Casemiro comes in. This is where Casemiro will step in. Because if, for example, De Bruyne picks the ball out wide, then you're relying on your fullback and your winger, whoever that may be, or your extra middle player such as Fred or Eriksen. If then Haaland decides to take a step back to try and then get a run on our two centre halves for a cross, he's got Casemiro to deal with. Okay, and if he then pushes onto the centre halves, he should have our goalkeeper deal with, because the centre half should be able to push back slightly and allow our goalkeeper room to come and collect the ball. Herein lies the issue. De Gea doesn't do that so much, does he? It was quite refreshing to see Heaton do that, come out and actually collect across. So De Gea is going to need to really marshal from the 12 yards out, penalty spot out, just in case Haaland decides to take the run. If he does, and he does get into it past Casemiro, you're then relying on your two centre halves and your goalkeeper to try and stop it. So as much as we've got to stop the service to him, we can also stop Haaland if we're sensible. However, guys, don't think I know it's not that easy, because obviously it isn't. He scored 21 goals, so what do I know? But that's how you've got to do it. Now, he hasn't scored in 2 games, which means he's going to score 10 on Saturday, because he has a bit between his teeth. I actually think if you look at his demeanour over the last couple of games, people have gone at him. They've started chirping at him. They started to try and disrupt his game.
Wind him up.
Yeah, wind him up. We need to do that. So I think it'd be an absolutely fascinating game. Really, really looking forward to it. And let's have it.
Well, we've spoken about how we're going to stop their goals, right? How are we going to win the game then? Vicky's just mentioned Cancelo, although I'm not quite sure on the spelling, but yeah, Cancelo, I'm assuming that's what you're talking about there. Seems a bit off at the moment. It's hard to I think he has been out with a little bit of an injury anyway, and has missed a few games there. But Andrew, I'll come to you first. How are we going to win the game then? Like I said, we've spoken about City's threat in Haaland, obviously the players in and around him. Obviously, you can mention Rashford. He seems to be on the form of his life at the moment. Is that where our threat's going to come from? Are we relying particularly on Rashford in this one?
To a degree, but I think what I said earlier, the midfield is going to be the key as well. Casemiro and whether it's Fred or Eriksen that partners in. But like I say, Rashford's a man on fire at the minute. He's like, is it 15 goals so far this season in all competitions? Yeah. I mean, his return to form has just been brilliant. I mean, watching at Old Trafford last season, it was just so sad to see him so out of form. Just like, even when he was trying to take on just one of the opposition players, he couldn't get past them. Like now, he's just taking on 4 or 5 players at will and just like getting past them. I just think that goal in the League Cup at Burnley, when he picked it up from in his own half and just ran all the way and then just went past all the Burnley defence and then slotted it home. But I mean, Rashford, you know, I think is it now 8? Is it 8 in 8? Or I can't remember the stat from the other day. He scored consecutively.
8 in 8. 8 in 8 at home and 10. Is it 10 in a row in all comps or something? Isn't it?
Something like that. Yeah. It's ridiculous, isn't it?
Yeah. So it's say he's going to be. We say Haaland's a threat for City. If Rashford's a threat for us, and City will be. Guardiola will know that. He'll be just about to say that. He'll be coming up for a Pacific plan for him as well. So it's just great to see him in such a good form again, and just say I hope he's on the score sheet Saturday. So we're coming away with the win as well.
I couldn't get to unmute there. I was just scrolling on my trackpad, like, on the mouse pad, like, what a move. Yeah, no, you make a good point. And I'm someone on this channel who's been very critical of Rashford because I don't think he or I didn't think he was. He's proven me wrong by the week at the moment. Didn't think he was going to get to that level that people thought that he couldn't. Like I said, if he continues proving me wrong, I'm more than happy to hold my hands up and sit here and say, yeah, I was completely wrong on that one. But Stu, for yourself, obviously Andrew mentioned the midfield as well there. Where are we going to win this game? Where are our goals going to come from? I said we scored 3 at the Etihad, but like I said, 2 of them were a bit, City on the game at that point.
I think one of our biggest challenges will be stopping Foden and stopping De Bruyne or Mahrez, whoever plays out wide. And by doing that, Ten Hag want us to attack them because we need to occupy them in their half of the field, not our part of the field. We need them helping their defence out. So the more we can keep those 2 pushed back, the better for the game. Our goals it's going to be quite difficult. And again, this is where your conundrum of the Bruno Eriksson kind of scenario comes in, because they've both got, Bruno can score from outside the box. So can Eriksson when he puts his mind to it. So can Casemiro. So I think we're going to have an issue of penetration. Rashford is going to be up against Walker for pace. So he's going to have problems there. Anthony, not so much with Cancelo. If Cancelo plays, I think Vicky might be right. I think he might be injured, or whoever plays left back. But I think our 2 wingers will be critical at giving, Casemiro, Fred a bit of breathing space and our fullbacks breathing space. Because if we can keep their fullbacks occupied, because obviously they like to attack, and also the likes of, as I say, Mahrez and Foden, I think we've got a chance to maybe look. I'm going for 2-0 anyway. I'm going for a 2-0 win, but I think we've got a chance with Rashford on form and Anthony. If Anthony can get into a position where he can put that left foot curling strike in, and he's done it on 2-3 occasions now this season, we could get a goal out of nothing from there. So we've got to push their fullbacks and their 2 wingers back. That's a key to our game.
No, that's a fair point. And Barry, welcome to the stream, who you may know. You'll see Barry on this channel more. If you watch the channel, you know who he is. He has just private messaged me as well, by the way, saying, I can't believe you've outed a guest for putting milk in the tea first, when the way you eat, with the cutlery thing that he likes to bring up.
Get in!
I'm sure you'll see that brought onto this channel.
He's got a fan.
The guys on WFC absolutely rinse me for my use of cutlery for absolutely everything. So I'm sure that's going to get brought up on here at some point, unfortunately. But Baines, do you agree with that? Do you think what Stu and Andrew were just saying about how we're going to win this game?
Wholeheartedly. I mean, look, I know City have got Mr. Inevitable, but we also have Mr. Inevitable, Mr. MBE, the child feeder, as I like to call him. He at the moment, he's a bit unplayable. You play him, everything he does, it turns into gold. So, look, as much as we can, he's in the absolute form of his life. So why wouldn't we rely on him? Why wouldn't we? I think there was a meme I saw the other day on Twitter, which was it was Ashley Young in a United kit crossing a ball, and the caption was "Fuck it, Rashford's there somewhere." Oh my God, it's 2-1 Fulham.
Oh, is it? Brilliant.
Get in. I don't know whether that's a good thing or not. They're catching us. They're the threat.
We've got 2 games in hand now. 2 games. Sorry, just about Rashford. Yeah, I mean, we've got Mr. Inevitable as well. I mean, he seems to be scoring for fun, especially at home. So why not utilise that? Why not try and get something on the end of him, get him running at players? So, yeah, look, Haaland is there, but equally, I know he's not as good, so don't out me for this. But Rashford at the moment, he's been brilliant for us. So get him involved in the game, get him running at players, getting him running in behind, trying to get the ball over the top. Just, he's our threat at the moment, so why not use him? So, yeah, Rashford's definitely, but in a more tactical sense, it's onside as well, lovely. In a more tactical sense, I think, again, it will be our midfield. It is the midfield battle. Rodri versus Casemiro, Fred if he plays, Ericsson if he plays, Bruno if he plays. It will be the midfield battle. And it always is with City. Whoever wins the midfield will end up winning the game. I don't think it will be 2-0 though, Stu. As much as I would like my United to win and keep a clean sheet, I think it will be something like a 3-1 or a 3-2 either way. Obviously, I'm going to go United, but I can see this swinging. I can see it being a goal fest and it swinging both ways.
Yeah, I'm going for 2-0. That's my score. I'm sticking by my conviction.
He's ruined my
Man
last
with
question.
confidence.
He's already just thrown his score
Oh,
prediction out
sorry,
there.
dude. Sorry, dude. Sorry.
He's been reading my crib sheet that I've got on the side of the screen here. But yeah, no, I think I agree with everything that's just said. Like I said, I'm happy to be proved wrong on Rashford, and I'm glad that he's in. I said it before, the form of his life, and I think, yeah, if we can get control of the game, we're not going to need a load of chances. Teams are scoring against City with not a lot of chances. Look at what Everton did.
Southampton did it, Everton, yeah.
So you don't need loads. We just need to be clinical when we do. And one player I just want to bring up before I throw a couple of quick fire questions at you before we look to round this one off. Vicky, with another good question in here. Question on Anthony right now. There's been a lot of talk about Anthony online, actually, that, is he living up to the hype after the first few games? Obviously scored against Arsenal, went on a good little run. How are we feeling about him right now? I think he's talking about his fidget spinner to criticism. That was the one and only show actually I did on the men's channel so far this season when I came on and everyone was talking about that. But yeah, what do we think on Anthony so far? Do we think he's done well so far? Do you think we expect him to have more influence? Oh, he did score away at the Etihad. It was a cracking goal as well, if you remember back to that one at the Etihad. So do we expect him to have much of an influence in this game? And how do we think he's done so far since arriving with us? That's an open question to anybody.
I was going to say, I think he's done okay so far. I mean, coming back from the World Cup, I think it's just taken him a bit of time just to get back in the running of the Premier League. And I know he said the other day, I think he was involved in the car runs because he said about an incident and, saying that really shook him up. So I just think, I just think he's still like a work in progress at United. He's getting used to the Premier League, how it all works. And, say what I'd like to see a bit more. I know he makes lots of runs, but like crossing the ball in there a bit more as well. So I'd just like to see him just add that little bit more. So like when Weghorst comes in, he's going to be wanting the ball. Well, I know Weghorst wants it more to feed, but more crosses into the box as well. We want Anthony and Rashford throwing those in as well. So let's say I think it's going to have an influence in the game Saturday. So hopefully that left foot is hitting another good strike again like he did against Charlton.
So you mentioned the left foot, Hammer's in there. So he needs to start using his right as well. It's
that annoys me. How many times he can use his right foot, but he doesn't. Look, on Anthony, I love him. Honestly, the past few years, it's football, especially the Premier League, has turned so robotic. It's like there is one way to play, and I suppose that is, I wouldn't say it's Pep's fault because he plays a lovely brand of football, but it's turned very robotic. A player has a certain role. This is what you do. The flair of the game has gone, and I think Anthony brings that back, especially from a classic United winger. He brings back this flair. Look, for 100 million euros or however much he was, yes, everyone expects him to light up the world like they did with Pogba, like they did with Maguire, like they are doing with Darwin Nunez and all the other players that cost an arm and a leg. It's true. For 100 million euros, you should be expecting more goals. But for me, for his breakout season in the Premier League, a completely new league, a completely new home, he's obviously lack of confidence because when he did that stupid fidget spinner move, whatever it was, the media hounded him, and you can tell it affected him because he posted something on Instagram saying, "This is how I grew up. This is Brazilian type of football. If you don't like it, then sod off," kind of thing. So you could tell it hit his confidence. But I think now with a couple of goals under his belt, he's starting to really shine through. He needs to use his damn right foot. That annoys me about him. But nothing to worry about there. If we get to a point where, for example, if he drops Rashford numbers last season, then obviously you can look at that and go, "Oh, I don't know about this." But no, he's confident. He's definitely there. He knows how Eric Ten Hag plays, and he plays. He's good. He's good on the ball. He's got a wand of a left foot. I'm not worried about it at all. And who cares if he costs 100 million? So what?
I'd just like to see him be a bit braver. If I'm being honest. I like him. I think he's done really, really well for us. The funny thing about the price tag is we could have got him for 50 million a month earlier if we pulled our finger out, but we decided not to. So as our board is, we decided to pay 30 million extra. But so I don't necessarily blame him for that, but he just needs to be a bit braver, show a little bit more a little bit more about what his personalities is, and it isn't the trick. Sometimes in football, you just got to do the basics, but do the basics well. He's not quite doing the basics well enough just at the minute. But apart from anything else, what's he got? 6 goals, something like that. He scored plenty of goals for us. I just think he's just got to be braver. That's the only thing I'd say.
No, that's a fair point. Yeah, I find it hard to disagree. I think he's been good. I don't think he's been exceptional. I don't think he's bad. I just think he's just been a good player. I don't
A
think
steady Eddie.
Vanilla.
Oh no, he's vanilla with like some, I don't know, mint choc ice or something in there as well, because he does a little spin.
Vanessa ice cream. There we go.
He's a bit more. It's the first thing that came to mind when you said that. I didn't know what else to say there, but
dear.
Right, a couple of quick fire questions, and before we look to wrap this up with a couple of score predictions, then I'll come to each of you. Andrew, start with you first. If we beat City, can we be classed as being in a title race?
It's difficult.
Yeah.
Say, I remember reading something the other week saying it's not outlandish to say we could do a title challenge, but I just think it's not even in our minds yet. I just think I think like Ten Hag said, it's just like we're taking it game by game. Look, if we do, mate, I'll be well impressed if we start, if we do beat City and then, Arsenal start to fall and then we just keep our form as well. But like, oh, we're onto something here, but I don't want to get too excited, I'm just thinking I'm trying to hold it back, but let's see if we can win the City game.
Just say it. He wants to say it. We'll be the title.
I do want to say it, but let's see if we win the City game first. That's all I'm going to say. Let's try and win that game first. That's all I'm going to say on that.
Well, that is the question. If we beat them, I know Barry. If Barry was here, he'd be egging you on to say it right now. But Stu Baines, if yourself, if we beat them, because I think if we beat them, we go 1 point behind City. Obviously, with the level games. So if City are in a title race, surely we are if we beat them.
Do you know something? The interesting thing is that we're asking this question, and many pundits are suggesting that Newcastle are in a title race, and we're a point off Newcastle, aren't we, with a game in hand, something along those lines. If I'm in the, look, any dressing room will tell you that if you are within touching distance, mathematically it's possible to clinch that title. You're in a title race. And you're talking about it all the time in the dressing room, but you will not come out and say it publicly. It just won't happen. So you'll be thinking, a bunch of winners in a dressing room are thinking, we can claw this back. We'll start on Sunday with City, and I will just keep going a game as it times. But am I not incorrect in saying that we've got something like 7 games in the next 3 weeks?
Yeah.
Or 2.5 weeks.
We're not going to win every game either.
And that is going to be massively impossible. That is going to be such a squad stretch. If we can come out of this period still within touching distance of Arsenal and City, whatever happens on Sunday, then I'd be, again, I can only say from dressing rooms that I've been involved in, absolutely, you're banging that title drum, absolutely banging it, because you're looking at the table, you can almost plot your route to the title. We can drop a point here, we can afford a draw there, we can actually afford a loss, but we need to win 6 games in a row to do that. All this is going through, all these conversations are being had, because that's what winners do. And so from that point of view, why not?
I like that.
For me, ask me at 28 games. I've always said, I will give you the answer, but I've always said you can only look if you're in a title race when you play your 28th game. Now, if we've played 28 games and we're 6 points off top or 5 points off top, then yes, I would say 100% we're in a title race. A 5-point swing can easily happen with 10 games left. If we beat City on Saturday, we'll be 1 point behind them, 6 points behind Arsenal, with them currently left to play. I don't know. I think the media will lap that up and go, yeah, United will be in a title race. They want the clicks. They want United to be in a title race for the Premier League's sake. The media want United to be up there. I'm going to say that, yeah. I'm going to say, yeah, if we beat City, we'll be in a title race. Now, whether or not, if we then go and beat City and then lose to Palace, then I'll comfortably just say, no, just forget it. Just get top four, get hopefully the Carabao Cup or Europa League, bang, done. Because it's all well and good. As we know with United over the past seasons, we'll go out and win games against Chelsea or City, and those big games, get whatever, and then we'll end up next week going to lose or draw and dropping points somewhere else, and it just brings the hope. But it could be a different side. It's such a coin toss for me. It really is, and we've still got Arsenal to play. Arsenal still have is it Chelsea and City they've got to play in the next few weeks. So this can swing so much. We could beat City, and then City can go and beat Arsenal. They might then go and draw against Chelsea, and then we're right in it. We really don't know. Or alternatively, we could lose on Saturday. We're completely out of it. Arsenal may then end up losing. City may end up losing again, and then we're back in it again. So it's very a coin toss. But I would say 28 games is the marker for me. 10 games left. 30 points.
The interesting thing, though, fellas. As soon as you kick off the first ball of the new season, you're in a title race automatically.
Yeah,
because everybody's on the same boat. You're
level
all in
playing
the title
field,
race. Yeah, all in the title race. And we've come back from 12 points behind before. On more than one occasion, City themselves have clawed it back. You just go and go and go and go.
One game at a time. Yeah.
No, 100% hard to disagree with.
Are you not going to answer your own question, Connor?
No, well, my answer is no. Purely because I agree with what you were saying about the 20. I think we see because as John rightly put, we're not even halfway through the season yet.
We're not.
The World Cup's kind of thrown everything out, and what's Stu, the point you made. I know Ben tweeted off the AllForUnitedVids account earlier that the amount, if we get through in the next round, obviously we've got the 2 Carabao Cup games now, we've got the FA Cup, the Europa League coming up. Yeah. We've got so many games. We're going to lose at some point in the league. It's just, I think we might go on and win all of them, but I think we'll drop points somewhere because there's just too many games. And
I can see us losing to Palace. I genuinely can see us losing to Palace. The game on Saturday, and then we play Palace on Tuesday.
We're away, aren't we? We're away on Tuesday, aren't we?
And we do not like Palace away. I know we've had a few good results there, but we don't like Palace away. I mean, it's a horrible ground to go to.
I hate Palace away. I do. Although I quite like the Crystals. I love the Crystals. Whenever I've been there, the Crystals always come over and give me a quick wave. So
that's got straight over my head. I've got no idea what you're on about.
Yeah, same here.
The cheerleaders.
Oh, right, okay. Sorry.
I thought you go.
They look for me. Give me a quick wave in the crowd. All right, girls.
Is your wife watching?
No.
I thought you went there and I don't know, bought crystal, actual crystals.
Yeah,
I don't know. I was wondering what you're on about.
Crystals.
There's not a crystal ball at the.
You go there for 2 things. Well, 3 things if you count the football. You go and watch the Eagle, which is massively impressive, where the eagle lands on the bar. I mean, he's massive. And then the cheerleaders, the Crystals.
Well, I want to know Hammer's answer. He says he has an inexperienced American answer. I really want to know.
We'll wait for that.
Type it in the comments.
I think we might be doing a watch long for the Palace game. Myself and Barry. He doesn't even know this, but I'm just there you go, Barry. Here's your reminder. We might be doing a watch long. Preparing a show live while we're on it. But so this might actually come up in conversation. Then while we're waiting for Hammer's answer, can someone just quickly answer this? Because I don't want to get to the final question in a second. But Vicky just put there. Do you think FA Cup has more relevance? Like Newcastle, Arsenal, United are in the running for the trophies and accolades. It's all points to prove. I don't have an answer for that one.
Well, just a quickie. I love the FA Cup.
Yeah, same here.
I absolutely love the FA Cup. So I grew, back in the 70s, the FA Cup was everything.
I think it still is.
I love it.
I think it still is. It's a cup tool. Win.
Yeah,
I
love
think
it.
it still
Love
is. It still has massive relevance. It's a cup to win. It's an important cup. It's very historic. Yeah, it still has relevance for any
What
team.
was your question?
Of course, if you lose the final, it's a Tim Pot trophy. If you win it, it's
Absolutely
the
correct. Totally agree.
So
Tin
let's
pot.
just remember
Nobody
that
wants to
right
get
now,
their
okay?
Go away. Yeah.
Yeah.
So say in terms of like list of priorities, the trophies, I always think the league first, then the FA Cup. No, sorry, third. I always think League, Premier League, Champions League, then the FA Cup. I just think in that order. I always think those are mine.
When a big World Club Cup 25, whatever they're planning on doing.
That can do one.
I don't know. FIFA's new ideas they're coming out with.
He's got to be high. He's got to be smoking. He doesn't even know what the question was now. This is
Well, he probably is smoking. Yeah.
I've got no idea what he's on about. Barry's basically confirming because anyone who puts the alarms, it automatically means that a transfer is happening. So, yeah, I'm sure we'll get that watch long booked in. Cameron, I'll come back to you in a second. I just want to ask this last question because I don't know how long this answer is going to take because I'm quite intrigued by everyone's answer. So I put a little bit of parameters around it. Barry's going to hate this because he hates it when I put rules in and around a question. So my only rule is, well, two rules. One, you can't pick Haaland, but you have to transfer a City player into the United starting 11. But by doing so, you have to sell that player that's being replaced in the starting 11 at United. So if you moved, I don't know, De Bruyne across, we'd have to sell Bruno, and De Bruyne goes into start. But
surely this is an easy one.
It's a piece of piss.
You can't say Haaland.
Oh, you can't just make up rules.
That's my
rule. I'll go quickly. Edison for De Gea. There you go. The end.
Okay.
Bastard, you took my whole one.
That's why you got to get in first, Bainesy.
I thought Haaland was the obvious one.
I don't know.
Take him out.
Yeah, I just think, would I take any of the City? No, except Haaland. Any of the others? I wouldn't.
Okay,
I wouldn't swap.
The caveat is that you've got to sell the player. So Stu's bringing in Edison, selling De Gea. That's to be fair. I don't think anyone would disagree with that.
Cancelo.
Not that poser. No, we can't have him.
I was going to say Mahrez, but I like Anthony, so I'm not saying Anthony's better. I was going to say Mahrez, but then I was like, no, actually Cancelo. I like Cancelo.
John, yes, it does.
Nathan Ake.
Who are you selling though?
Martinez. No.
No.
I'm joking.
So by Bainesy, Cancelo's. He's played on both sides, though. So who are you selling? Are you selling Shaw or are you selling Dallo or Wan-Bissaka? I'm assuming
Wan-Bissaka.
The right hand side, right? Okay. Yeah, to be fair, that probably would have been mine. I think.
What? Cancelo?
You can't take my choice now, so you're gonna have to think of another one.
Oh, Cancelo. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm 5 minutes late. I've just got off the sunbed. He's a poser.
Ruben Diaz for Maguire is a great shout.
But Maguire. My rule was in there if they have to start. So Maguire's not really I guess if you're it depends how you word the rule is now.
You're changing the rules. You're changing the goalposts now. Here you go. Look.
But if you brought in Diaz, he's got to start. That's my rule. You're bringing a player in that has to start, and by doing so, you are selling that person out.
Mm-hmm. And Edison would start.
Yeah, that's what I don't think many would disagree with that.
Yeah, Edison would start.
I think I might have one.
Vicky.
Probably Alvarez.
That's
not really.
Do you know, Andrew? That's a shout.
I was going to say Alvarez, but I'd sell.
Alvarez for who?
Who's our current striker?
Weghorst.
Alvarez for Martial.
Actually, Alvarez for Martial's a very
Alvarez is a great shout. Actually,
Kevin De Bruyne for McTominay is a brilliant shout.
I don't think you could have that though. It's got to be De Bruyne. I think if you're taking De Bruyne across, you've got to sell Bruno or Ericsson.
Comments. Sell Ericsson and bring Gundogan in. John.
What's wrong with that?
You can't bring Gundogan in for Ericsson, surely.
I like Gundogan.
That's the one I'd be doing. I think De Bruyne for Ericsson or Bruno for me. As much as I love Ericsson and Bruno, I don't think they're quite De Bruyne.
They're not De Bruyne-esque, are they? Let's be honest. I know there's a lot of comparisons, but De Bruyne is on another level at the moment.
But by doing this, John, you've got to bench Rashford then, because like my rules were they come in to start. So
yeah.
Foden's
Left
coming
wing.
in.
Oh, here we
So
go.
you're selling Rashford.
So Rashford would be either benched or sold, or you'd put Rashford on the right or down the middle, whichever one however you want to do in this hypothetical game. But
Can't believe we can't choose Haaland. That's ridiculous.
I've literally
Pluck that
written
one
it.
out of thin air.
When I was writing the questions down, I've literally written in bold underneath. Can't say Haaland because I thought everyone was just going to say him.
He's peaked.
Yeah.
Forget it. He's peaked. He won't score
It's
again
that
this
one.
season.
Yeah.
So
I
yes, there's a few names in there, but I thought I'd throw that caveat at you just to see who you suggest.
Actually. It's quite a good
It is a
question.
good question. Well done. Yeah.
But yeah, a few different answers in there. I do like the Alvarez one. I think that's a decent shout.
It's a decent shout. That is. Yeah, it is actually. Yeah.
See, I knew there was a reason we got you on here, Andrew. Just for nothing else, just for that question.
And that's it. That is it. Yeah.
No, of course we.
John's having a go now. Johnny K's having a go.
I'll say that. Squad, yeah, but Sancho's not playing, is he?
He's just putting you straight.
Right.
Oh, John.
No.
Hilarious.
There we are. I know we can't do Rashford for Haaland purely because like I said, everyone would have said Haaland otherwise because we need a striker. So that's the reason why I said can't say.
I would have gone Edison De Gea.
Oh, you would have anyway.
Yeah.
Yes, I don't think too many would disagree with that. I don't think it's a bad shout.
No, Edison for today is a good shout. Yeah.
It's not an interesting one. That right. We'll round it off. Score predictions, goal scorers. Come on in. Let's end it with this one. I know, Stu, you already given your. I'll let you go first, actually, Stu, considering you've already said yours earlier in the show. But who's your goal scorer?
I'm gonna stick by 2-0, and I'm going to go with Anthony to net first. Actually, yeah, I'm going to give Anthony. I am, yeah. It's either that or would it be a bit of a left field Fred, because you just never know with Fred. But I'm going to go 2-0 Anthony first.
What are you two saying on this one?
I am going to go. I'll stick to my guns. I'm going to go 3-2 United. First goal scorer or last goal scorer?
First.
I mean, do all of them if you want.
Okay.
Depends how many goals.
I actually think Weghorst is going to come on and score a winner.
God,
first goal scorer.
That would be.
Oh, mate. It was so good. Imagine the scenes.
Power header. Get him.
I'll take anything. If it's just a goal scrap and Weghorst is just there, get his fat head on it. I wouldn't care. But I can see first goal scorer Varane from a corner.
Oh, you'll get Vicky. Vicky will be happy.
Varane for a corner. 3-2. Weghorst for the winner. 93rd minute. Back post. Aaron Wan-Bissaka cross. Oh, imagine.
1-B Neo.
I was going to say, I think the game's going to be much tighter affair than the game at the Etihad. I'm going to go 2-1 United, and I'm trying to. I think Martial's going to score, and Rashford as well. I just don't know which one's going to. I'm going to say Martial's going to score the first goal. I think he's going to get us on the way.
Interesting.
John Commode's been smoking as well.
4-3. Oh my God! That game was absolutely.
With an Owen winner.
I was going to say my heart rate wouldn't say that again. Not at the moment.
No. Honestly,
How good though was Craig Bellamy that game for City?
Oh, he was amazing, wasn't he? How shit was Rio?
Oh yeah, I know.
And what's his name? Foster. He was like 3 of the goals were his fault, weren't they?
Yeah. Well, they were. Yeah.
Yeah, wasn't
score? I remember. Or did he score?
Who's that? Sorry.
Tevez, wasn't he?
I don't think Tevez scored that.
Tevez didn't score for City, did he? I know.
I don't remember. Sorry, he might have scored, but then they ruled it out. I'm just trying to.
Was it Gareth?
Here we go. It was Barry and then Bellamy twice.
Bellamy got twice. Yeah.
Bellamy twice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fletcher got 2, didn't he?
Yeah, Fletcher, Rooney, and
Chloe.
Yeah. Like 12 minutes into injury time, wasn't it?
Yeah, Mark Hughes was absolutely fuming.
Crying, he was living, wasn't he?
Like, what's it all this time? Yeah, Fergie time.
Fergie time.
There we are. That would be quite something. What's everyone else saying? 3-1, Rashford 2, 1 for Martinez, 2-1 United before John went off on a mad one. Rashford and Anthony. Everyone, lot saying Rashford 3-2. Yeah, don't disagree with that one. Varane header coming up.
Would Rashford break the Vardy record, or is the Vardy record Premier League only?
Premier League only. The Vardy.
Right. Okay.
His was 10 straight, wasn't it?
He got the 11th. No, we got the 11th against us.
Against us,
yeah.
Rude
had it before Vardy, didn't he?
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. So what's Rashford on then? 8.
Yehuda's got the score. If I pronounced it right, Yehuda, apologies if I don't, but he knows. He knows.
2-0. Yeah.
So you got 2-0. Yeah, I think I'm going to go. I hate saying 2-1 for big games because everyone says that. Most people when they're asked, I think it's going to be 2-1, it's going to be a tie. I'm going to go 3-1 just to be different because I don't like 2-1 predictions. Rashford, obviously you got to back him, haven't you? Yeah, I actually agree with that. Yehuda, I think Casemiro might be on the score sheet again, one of those looping headers like we did at Chelsea away, something like that.
If he does that again, I was at that Chelsea away game when Casemiro's literally limbs were everywhere. Literally for about 10 seconds, I couldn't see a thing. I was like being pulled from pillars of posts. But he does that again.
What a face! That was one of the best celebrations I've seen forever.
Yeah. You could tell it meant a lot to him.
No, I literally got a photo of that, and when I look back, I thought, it's him just in front of the camera with his, his hand on his chest, just phenomenal into the camera. I was like, brilliant! It was.
Or one of them banging from the edge of the box.
He's got that in him as well, isn't he, Casemiro?
Well, we were Fulham won. Brilliant.
Yeah, 2-1.
We got Jeff Stelling in the comments.
I think that's Potter out, by the way, now.
I don't think so, personally.
I wouldn't. I'd keep him, to be fair.
So would I, Stu. But
I'd keep him,
I don't think Chelsea...
But that Todd Bowley's playing FIFA, isn't he, the clown? He's an idiot. I mean, if you pay 10 million to loan somebody and then pay him 260 grand a week, what a tool! What a idiot.
Join us next week where Stu is going to be talking all about Todd Bowley. I don't know. Yeah. But Chelsea is third place battle with West London Cup. Yeah.
West London Cup, yeah.
They are dropping away, that's for sure. I'll be winding my mate up in a second when I come off here.
You will.
Anyway, right. Well, let's wrap it though. We've gone on for a little bit longer than I thought we were going to. But as John has just put a little bit earlier on, just happy AFU is back. We appreciate you all waiting for us to come back. Obviously, it's been a short time. It's been a few weeks in the planning. But so our next show will be on Sunday night. That'll be the Man City match reaction. I'll be back again on Monday with a special show on Amad Diallo. So make sure you check that one out because he is tearing up with Sunderland right now. So I have a really good Sunderland fan with me to talk all about him and the inner workings and everything else in and around Sunderland. And then I said we might be back next week with a watch along. Barry, I'm looking at you in the comments to confirm that because once he's in, we're in. And obviously we got the Arsenal preview and everything else wrapping up as well. If anyone is new around here, obviously make sure you're liking the video and subscribing. If you want to come on the channel, message one of us that are on screen or message the AllForUnited account, whatever it is, to come on shows. Most people that are in the comments, to be fair, you'll see on shows in the next foreseeable future anyway. So make sure you're doing that. Make sure you follow the women's channel as well, AllForUnited WFC. You'll see more of Barry on there if you want to see him. And you'll probably see these guys as well over there as well. But for now, thank you for Bainesy, Stu, Andrew. Thanks for coming on. Make sure you like and subscribe it, and we'll see you in the next one.